Welcome everybody to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I will be your captain today alongside my co-caster, Todd Habercorn. How are you today, Todd?
Oh, I am pretty good, sir. How do you do today?
Excellent. I'm looking forward to these late in the season matchups, the final one, if you will, the final week before we get into the, well, I would say lengthy process of finding our finalists. We do multiple tournament rounds coming up next few weekends, and it's going to be a lot of good weekend Onward action. But right now, we got regular season still churning away, and this is week 14. We are just tuning in. I think we can dive right into the pick bans. Todd, why don't you cover those for us?
Alrighty, so we have first team to be banned. First ban is Tanker. We believe it is BossFight, and I believe, I'm sorry, words. Beginners may be banning Suburbia as well.
2 close quarter maps off the table definitely means we're going to be getting ourselves some long range fighting. You know, I expect to see some downfall, some quarantine, which is going to be first map for today. But yeah, I expect a little bit of the long rotations, the planned out converging on objective around 1 or 2 minutes. And I'd be surprised if we didn't see it from both sides. I haven't really watched a lot of BossFight this season, truth be told.
BossFight like to take it probably a little bit quicker than beginners, in my experience. They got some pretty fast-acting players, but it doesn't mean that they will be playing like danglers by any means. We will still be probably seeing the timer come into effect here.
Right.
On a lot of these.
Yeah, I absolutely expect beginners to pull things down to the minute mark at the very least. But I guess in terms of importance, this matchup doesn't really hold a lot of weight. In reality, if beginners lose, they're not going to dip down out of the top 7, which is what they're trying to maintain themselves into. Actually, maybe if they did lose, they would drop down out of the top 7. Considering how the MMR disparity between these two teams. Take a look at beginners, they're at 1310, and BossFight down at ranked 19 is 1190. Everyone's pretty close. I mean, they would have to lose like 40 MMR, which I don't think is possible. But they certainly could find themselves lower in the seeding if they do end up losing this series. BossFight, on the other hand, ranked 19th worldwide. I just don't think there's enough MMR for them to be able to climb up into the top 7. They're most likely going to have to fight away in the old wild card tournament, which should be pretty fun to tune into. I think that's next weekend, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever seen BossFight in the wild card.
Oh, that's an interesting thought. There's really been 7 seasons of them being top 7, and this is the first time. Yeah, that sounds
I've had
right.
to play wild cards, and I don't think I've ever had to play BossFight.
Sounds right. Kind of crazy. Well, we were talking about this earlier. They've had a bit of a fall from their normal roster, right?
Yeah, so they lost Scorpio 1986 and Weather Balloon, renowned shield player.
Yeah.
From their roster, and that has definitely changed up the mode.
See how much it changes them up as we hop into round number 1 of map 1 on quarantine. Beginners on the defensive, BossFight on the offensive. We'll see. Beginners are really on point today, and if they'll be expecting any sort of strong play from BossFight. Just looking at the recent matches, BossFight went 0-12 against the newbies. So, in terms of facing off against teams that have beginners or noob in their name, they are not doing too well right now, so we'll see if they can remedy that.
Well, look, a beginner is like a more layman speak for newbie, whereas newbie is 100% gamer speak, okay?
Very true.
Noobs. a slight difference. It's about these slight differences. We are seeing a very hard north push on the side of BossFight here. Legel leading the attack here. They are just checking every corner like every enemy is behind them.
Yeah, the caution definitely at max right now. There's a lot of potential positions that beginners could take up here if they wanted to get a little early aggression in. It's interesting that BossFight are expecting that level of aggression from beginners. They would really have had to push out from their objective to get up to this north side. We've seen it sometimes, but it's risky.
Yeah, I don't think beginners really want to play far out from objective against a team like this, where BossFight's also known for being very aggressive, at least toward the end. It definitely, you don't want to be leaving objective open against a team like that.
Right. Viper and Legel taking their time north. The rest of the team inching their way into what I would assume will be the rooftop and rooftop courtyard. Also have one far south. Who is that way over there? I think that's Scooby-Doo on the opposite side of the map.
And so far, we have a 4-to-1 push strategy going on here. 4 in the north, 1 in the south. But the south is where all the defense is. The one south guy, Scooby, is using that dune for cover. It's a strategy we see, I think, on almost every game that we go to quarantine.
Probably going to be a few minutes before either squad tries anything, but beginners don't have any information right now. They're all tucked in around objective, waiting for these shots to come out. They don't know if it was a south spawn and they're taking their time, or if it was north. Really only have one eye up on that north side. Everybody else still pretty focused on the south crossing.
You want to take bets on what time they start crashing objective?
I don't know, they're still pretty far away. You have Scooby way over on that south side. He's definitely not in position to be advancing. He's got to start making his move now, and you do see him finally get up from his crouched position behind the dunes and start to move just a little bit.
Yeah, and there's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Half of the round time has been used.
That four-man squad is inching their way forward. Viper on the back overwatch while the rest of the team is pushed forward into the top courtyard. Pretty soon they'll be on that plain nose right in the grill of Icy Woods and Killinger. And here's the first shots of the match. Killinger spotting out Viper, trying to rotate on that north trench.
And Scooby's beginning his crash too. He's moved up from the dunes up to the ambulance.
Ooh, and he actually
He's
catches,
able to find Woods.
The back of Icy Woods getting scooped up. Killinger now aware of those shots, but also aware of Legel's rotation here on the wall. Killinger putting out some fire and then instantly checking his ambulance side. He's definitely getting surrounded here, and then the utility starts to come out.
Legel's already moved up onto the burning building here. He's going to move up on Killinger. Killinger's waiting for him. Legel emerges victorious.
Killinger was so trained on Highfish and Scooby's suppressive fire, he wasn't even aware that Legel stormed inside there. And now Trey on the opposite side on the south goes down between Woods and Scooby, and it's up to 3 in the center and 1 defender of beginners now, as BossFight has picked off the entire defense and are making their push with 50 seconds.
And the last remaining defender is Smoils is somewhat far away. He gets a res, but now they're both on to objective. Any option of cap is dwindling fast here.
Pretty dang good smokes denying vision, though. Kev shouldn't see Hailfish, but he goes down to the shots from UC Death. And BossFight take round 1 against the #2 worldwide team.
We always talk about how these first rounds are a mood setter. So BossFight are probably feeling it, if anyone right now, to be losing this badly in the first round.
I'll have to do a quick vibe check on the BossFight side when the round starts and see how they're feeling. I'm sure they're feeling pretty good to start things off like that. This is their map choice, though. Always important to remember. And
I do believe this is a map that the beginners do enjoy, though.
yeah.
So we're not seeing like a massive discrepancy in skill level here.
Yeah, I anticipate some Marsoc rounds being traded at the very least, and if we don't see that, I think that would be the real surprise. If BossFight can grab this defensive round, then come out victorious with another. If they can push things 3-0, that would really be an impressive feat.
And we've seen some really crazy stuff happen on this map, and even in this season alone, with the first cast of this new setup that we're using, Danglers put out quite a statement capping against Globocam on this map. And then there's another where it was SMC Danglers, and SMC destroyed Danglers. So anything is possible this season.
Yeah, this is just an interesting series to be tuning into. We'll see if BossFight can continue this early lead and keep pressing it. Viper, usually the jokester, locked in. He's going to be going with that 12 times on the south. Probably heads up to the plane wing and try and look for an overwatch position. If he can get there, it's going to be pretty good with this spawn because they are going to be mostly north focused. So he will have some decent lines of sight onto the roof and over into that north area. Picks up his plane wing.
He will have company coming very shortly, though. Samoil is on his way down to the south, and when you're dueling it out with the 12 times, the odds are just not in your favor. It is very hard to duel with the 12 times.
Yeah, we've seen this rotation from beginners. It's been a bit more slow-paced in the past, though. Samoil is this time basically just full sprinting across that street, not worried at all about people spotting him, and I don't think anybody does. Could be real bad news for Viper if Viper isn't wary of this rotation.
I do believe Viper's actually completely rotated off there. So he clearly knew something was going to be up.
Wonder
Maybe
if
they did spot him and just chose not to shoot him.
Yeah, they might have spotted him across the north street. Just looking at the map, they definitely don't have eyes on that south street, but they certainly could have seen him cross early on up in the north, and Viper does drop back to defend against OBJ. Meanwhile, the rest of BossFight pretty keen on the north defense. Legel and Scooby up here on the west side can defend against this push across the northwest lane. Everybody else is pretty standard defense inside Burning.
Once again, I think beginners are kind of using the same strategy as BossFight earlier did with the 4-1 push. We might see them begin their push around halfway down through the map timer. I think that was a BossFight member who, Highfish, taking some pot shots.
Might have seen the rotation or something south. But this is very much a mirrored on both ends. Beginners with that offense that looks just like BossFight, but BossFight also very similar defensive style. They have two on that back west side. They have two inside Burning. If they lose Burning, it becomes very hard to defend against. I think it's an interesting strategy we're seeing from both teams to sort of only invest 2 players there instead.
It could also be a gamble that they had the same spawn as before, where you would almost have to take a north approach and not risk sending everyone across the streets where they can get mowed down. I think it just paid off very well for BossFight to send the majority of their players up north.
Had the scoreboard up for 3 minutes, but frankly, I think it was warranted. You guys didn't miss anything, and you got to see the scores and have some music. Now we're into the action. 3 minutes left. Now,
dance party.
Yeah, now things should be happening. Nades and utilities start to come in towards that center area. Hailfish or Highfish's early shots definitely making the beginners team wary of any defenders in here, and now we're getting shots from a couple of different angles. Highfish here has to be wary, and Scooby-Doo also trying to defend against the cross.
Highfish takes a shot from the ambulance side from Smoils. It's not enough to take him down, though.
Callouts in that Killinger and Kev across the street. Kev managing to find Highfish, but not before Killinger goes down, and now the push onto Burning Building. UC Death from the two-story finds one. Can he get another? No, he can't. Not before Smoils can pick him up from the ambulance. And we're into a 3v3 with one Resable. UC Death can make some callouts.
Now they know exactly where the push is coming from in that burning building. This could help BossFight out so much to be able to get a counter rotation going and be able to accurately defend objective.
Kev confirming UC Death, and Scooby-Doo in a bit of an awkward position may find himself with a few kills if Woods 43 keeps charging forward. Scooby catches one, and that's going to be an alert to Kev inside Burning.
Current manage is 2-3. BossFight's advantage. Only Smoils and I believe Kev are still up on the BossFight on the beginner side.
Kev putting out some shots from Burning over at Scooby, but didn't quite land those. And now they're in a bit of a tough bind as Lego grabs Smoils and puts beginners into a 1v3.
Scooby-Doo is able to find Kev, and BossFight will go up 2-0 against beginners.
Yeah, if you asked me this was how I would think the series was going to start, I would certainly say no. I think it would be the opposite way. Beginners definitely had my vote, but BossFight are coming out here and they're looking strong. Both rounds they've won have looked very good. They now push their lead up 2-0.
Yeah, beginners might be a bunch of late risers, though, seem kind of later in the round, but
yeah,
I don't think it's really out of the question for BossFight to at least take a map from them.
Yeah, if you're beginners, though, it should be out of the question, right? You're the ranked 2 worldwide. You should not be letting the ranked 19 team take points against you like this. I do agree, they are typically a slow to start team, and they're definitely not one to let a little lead get them down. We'll pop into the beginners at the start of this next round and see how they are feeling on the comms, but they're a team that even if you get a lead, you cannot let. That's kind of how they thrive. Once you know teams start to feel confident that they get a lead on beginners, or even global, like these top teams start to feel confident with leads, and then suddenly those leads get eaten up when team really turns it on. So if beginners can turn it on here, grab themselves a Volk round, and then come in with a cap for the second for their next Marstock round, that'd certainly be a nice way of answering back. And with this objective, I think it is possible.
Oh yeah, this is definitely one of the more capable objectives. So if BossFight's gonna really bring it now, now's the time.
Through to a top-ranked team. No real panic in those comms. Still pretty focused on positioning and where they need to be to properly defend. A fast spawn up north for BossFight.
Oh yeah, it's imperative that they bring the pressure before beginners can even get themselves settled in, and it looks like they're going to get a little bit more aggressive than what we've seen them before. M204 comes out, doesn't find purchase.
Yeah, this is certainly a more aggressive rotation from BossFight. They are switching up their strategy here. They knew that nade was coming in, quickly pushed off, and they are charging forward onto the nose now. Already past the lane defender, and they're right in the grill of Icy Woods and Killinger. We'll see if they can find any picks and take control of building. Look at the rotation from Woods 43 through the gap in the wall, though.
Icy is able to find Legel and UC Death in a nice double. He's able to actually make that a triple now as Scooby falls to the same line of fire. Highfish is looking for the pick, but he's not able to see it because of that brick pillar that's right there. He is in a very awkward position right now, but looks like he's going to try to go around here. He knows exactly where Icy Woods is. They trade. And now only one member of BossFight remains compared to the 3 beginners left on the field.
Their push up the center not paying off. The defense from Woods 43 on the other side of the wall certainly threw a wrench in their plans, and beginners finally do get on the board, shut down the fast push, and in a quick round, go up 2-1.
There wasn't a lot of utility being used by BossFight there. We did see some smokes, but not like what we see out of like Animal House or Danglers.
No flashes, no
cover
nades.
the whole
Yeah.
map in smoke, flashes, nades, you name it. If it's in the game, they'll use it.
We did see
Pretty
the
sure they'll even use
M203.
the flare gun. Yeah, we did use the M203. That's true. Didn't find anybody though.
Yeah.
Might have been more expeditious on that kind of approach to use a smoke instead, but I'm not BossFight. There's probably some reasoning.
One of those trade-offs you always have to be thinking about, you know, is the cost of a launcher and the accuracy of it worth missing out on some other utility options? Certainly not so there, but a nice idea and a good way of applying some aggression that could have caught beginners off guard, but they just couldn't find the picks they needed. I don't know if you noticed, but beginners definitely stayed hunkered down as opposed to challenging that push on the plane wing. Once those smokes came out, they instead decided to opt and stay tucked in behind their cover. Not really look for those early picks. Woods certainly did find the angles, but he was still pretty dang tucked in. I think he was shooting through the gaps in the rubble to find those picks.
The nice thing about that whole play was that beginners actually pushed out a bit themselves, forcing all the smokes that we have to be pushed off of objective rather than have them on objective. So they could just focus on the battle itself and not have to worry about objective, you know, being smoked and everything. They could have their guy back there just chilling out saying no one's on objective, and everyone else just does the bloody work.
With the push that fast, you can certainly assume nobody has had time to rotate south, so you get a lot of information with those early smokes, and we'll see if beginners opt for something like that fast push that BossFight tried to pull off, or if they'll instead send one southeast and rotate around that way. That'll kind of be the indicator of their pace.
We will be having a mirrored spawn for Marsoc once again, north spawn.
They're playing it pretty quick. Killinger getting aggressive with some early shots. That is going to give away their north spawn, but definitely worth the cost. BossFight now down 1. A quick rev from Viper puts them back into a 5v5.
Woods himself is getting a little bit of pressure there from BossFight. Does give away the position.
Yeah, and as soon as those shots were taken, the full 5-man push north was quickly abandoned. Smoils instantly drops over to the southeast, and he'll be making that long rotation across the street. Who is covering that angle? I think it is Scooby, but I don't know if he'll be able to see that at that range, the cross happening.
We're about to find out really here soon.
Yeah.
Scooby, Smoils begins his cross here.
Nope.
No, Scooby doesn't see him.
Nope.
He doesn't even make the call out.
Yeah, he definitely didn't see that. And you could see through Scooby's perspective, it's so incredibly hard to identify at that distance if a shift in a pixel is an enemy or just a shift in a pixel.
Yeah. That's why we're always talking about how these next generation VR headsets are going to be game changing, because then you can kind of be able to notice these things, but until then, you got to look for these individual pixels.
It looks like UC Death spotted Smoils crossing south, so they are aware of the long south rotation. Probably going to put the timer on beginners somewhere around the 2-minute mark before they make their push.
That's Killinger taking some pot shots. Again, he doesn't really have a place of major cover. He's just using this hill.
Still Pyro 3-1, Alpha 3-0. Oh, that's for Santa Burning coming.
Only a bit of a risk peeking that hilltop, but did pay off for him once, so he keeps going back, looking for some more shots into burning, but
What crossing?
Kind of slowly making his way to rotate now. As beginners begin to make their focus onto the objective itself, or at least the burning building.
assuming it's going to be synced up, Smoils probably is going to come in here onto ambulance and be able to apply fire from that side while the rest of his team makes their way up. You want to talk about? Oh, wow! Yeah.
Oh,
Bounced
nice
off the
nade.
bounced off the plane wing. But you want to talk about utility getting used here? There's a lot more on beginner's ed. Tons of smokes. Nades coming in. C4 was detonated, but unfortunately Viper was still resible, so he goes down. And Highfish on a bit of a rotation does catch one.
Killinger gets the refrag.
Killinger's quickly scooped up by Scooby. And then meanwhile, the rest of the squad pushing along the west, and Smoils defending from ambulance.
One just pushed ambulance to burning.
Now with the push effectively shut down, at least the immediate one.
Gonna go back in beginner's favor pretty soon here. Smoils did go to burning. He should be able to get that res off in burning building. Look at this long rotation. Woods 43 way over on the east. He's gonna wrap all the way around and try and make his approach up from the gas station side, I think, as Smoils grabs Scooby.
Currently a 4v2 situation. Boss fight on the disadvantage. They have to defend this objective here, otherwise beginners will tie it up for the map.
They're certainly splitting their push here. Woods 43 on one end, the rest of the squad on the other, and Woods able to catch the backside of Lego. That's information for UC Death, who tries to act and can't get out the shots. Woods 43 finds the kills, and beginners, a quick answer back, tied up 2-2.
Boss fight's aggression just has not been working against beginners that well.
They slow played those first two rounds, and the patience and the hunting for the pick certainly seems to be a better strategy than trying to apply the aggression against beginners. I do agree with you there, but beginners haven't really brought out any hard pushing plays yet. They're very capable of playing things quick. An objective like this, depending on where they spawn, maybe we'll see something interesting, but I do anticipate another slow play from them.
And this is ambulance, so it's one of those objectives that just have to be played slower.
Yeah, there's not really any fast spawns. Everything's kind of a bit of a different.
And the objective itself is just so open. Unless you got a whole lot of utility on it, it's really hard to just run up and cap.
You know, if they get west, maybe there'll be an opportunity for beginners to hard push out the gate, but that requires a pick or two to really be fortunate enough. First, anyway, we got to see what Boss Fight can do anyway first, since they'll be heading into Marsoc. And they will be getting that west spawn, so maybe Boss Fight can make the aggression work with this spawn.
I need the AP rounds though. No, Tracers in this.
Forward.
Some smokes are put out on the side of beginners in order to feint a hard push to the east, but the hard push is actually coming to the north to meet. NightFish is able to find Kev right off the bat there, bringing beginners down one hombre.
Looks like Scooby's trying to use that M203 to send it arcing into the stairwell. He just missed it onto Killinger there, and he called out that it was a bad shot. But that's an interesting application of that M203.
You don't need to arc it into the pit there. You could just hit the stairs that are above Killinger, and it'll be just as effective.
Yeah. That's true. HighFish able to grab out Smoils. That puts beginners down 2, and some early picks for BossFight, putting them into a very good position. A botched nade from Killinger doesn't go over the wall. HighFish stays safe.
And this setup with the north stairs is really good. Killinger's not really effective there whenever he's being pinched. He cannot engage 2 targets at the same time there. So for him to rotate down and wait for the push to come to him is a good idea, but
yeah, I think if he keeps peeking those stairs, he may eventually get picked, although all the eyes onto that stairwell have rotated off of it now. HighFish not really paying attention, and nobody up in the north has their eyes trained in. They're all kind of shifting around the courtyard side. We'll try and probably push in straight from the center of the map.
BossFight do have a really good kind of noose setup here, kind of surrounding the objective.
Yeah, those picks afforded them some space on that west side. They've taken over control of the gas station. Certainly could be. I don't know. I think that Cap's on their mind, but
First thing on their mind should be taking out the man-on objective, Woods.
yeah. Jones are taking some shots there from HighFish. Look at Icy Wood's position. He's in an interesting spot here.
Half of his, at least on my end, half of his body is
Yeah.
through the ground here off of a glitch.
Gotta love those.
Definitely not
kinematics.
intentional, but
Yeah.
very interesting thing for the devs to see.
More just an interesting spot because he's so exposed against this wall, but he does have eyes over towards the gas station. Killinger able to kill HighFish. That's a big pickup for him. It does open up Killinger to check other angles. Maybe he can grab some picks from gas station, Leggle and UC Death.
Killinger does have blue lasers pointed his way, even though he cannot see them. I think he knows they're there.
Yeah, and HighFish is still alive, so he may be able to be calling out some information. You can probably see through the gap in that wall.
One double back from the gas station to both courtyard.
Woods calling out the rotation on this res that just went out. BossFight now back to 5 strong.
Beginners are still down 2 men, so they gotta play this really tight here. Icy Woods finds Viper making their job just a little bit easier.
Big refrag from Leggle, big refrag from Killinger. Beginners into a 2v3. Killinger's in certainly a risky position. I think now that he realizes he's only the second one of 2 alive. He's got to probably rotate out of this burning building, although he is still staying in these stairs, and UC Death is getting super exposed to a potential angle from Killinger here. I mean, you want to talk about an effective defensive position. Killinger has been doing work to stall this BossFight push. Scooby and UC Death having to invest utility to even get up here, and now it's all up to Woods 43 on OBJ.
Woods able to find High Fish, bringing it down to a 2v1. And Scooby's able to call that out very effectively.
Surprised they still have so much utility. They spent 2 on that burning building. Here come 2 more, and they're pretty dang good smokes. One's going to go through the wall, making it impossible for Woods to readjust that one.
UC Death's going to try to move up. Woods is actually going off of objective in order to be able to defend it. Taking pot shots at Scooby, who's making his rotation, but he is not able to find that. Now UC Death knows exactly where Woods is because he's shooting right there. Woods does know that UC Death is right, or no, he doesn't. He's not even moving.
The smokes are saving Woods. Can you see Death punching the code on the back of Woods right now? I don't know what is happening. They finally find him in the smoke.
Oh my god, dude.
Fucking see him in the smoke.
Couldn't see him in the smoke is what he said there, and I believe it.
Chaos for round
yeah.
5, but BossFight do take the lead and move themselves into match point. Not what I anticipated.
On the flip side of things here, beginners can cap and still win the round here. So this is up in the air still, even though BossFight are on match point.
Very true. We've had a lot of Marsoc trades so far in this first map, and I would anticipate that trend to continue, although BossFight have taken at least 1 Volk round. Have to do it again if they want this map, and they certainly do want this map. This is
Their map.
Yeah, right. And if they can keep winning their map picks, even if they lose map 2, it puts them in a much better position for map 3. So.
Do you think beginners are going to change this up at all? Trying to move maybe a bit faster? Trying to match what BossFight's been doing?
I would really only be looking for that in a when they have the lead scenario. I think they will stick to their slow, methodical play style for this final map, and especially this final what could be the final round, especially considering they got that far northeast spawn. It just offers them a lot of time to rotate. And you see these smokes getting tossed out here just as a defensive measure. You want to be sure that if you're going to cross this street, that you are denying vision from anybody that spawns in the north. Although Scooby decides to go in front of the smokes instead of behind them. They don't really work out too well, but he may be able to find a pick from this angle. He does spot 1 cross and can't land the shots.
Did he cross South Road? I didn't see.
Bit of confusion coming out of Scooby.
Well,
He doesn't know.
This position that I marked.
On a nice nade. Good thing he rotated.
That was a near perfect toss right to his old position.
They have at least one already across. I saw an LMG about to cross 10, 20 seconds ago. If you hold the wing, you'll die to South Hills, guaranteed.
Honestly, some misinformation from Scooby. He assumed that they crossed the street a bit earlier, and Viper is up on that wing with eyes trained in to that position. He may be able to find the rotation here. Shots come in, and he does land them. Viper picks up 1, while Scooby gets scooped up by Icy Woods.
4v4 action as Viper does exactly what Scooby said not to do. He is on the wing.
Certainly getting himself a lot of information. Does know 1's up on that rooftop. He is assuming 1's still over here in the southeast, which is the right assumption, considering that 1 did cross in addition to the one that he picked.
the opportunity to cross that south road.
Into a bit of a calm before the storm, something that's very trademark of beginners.
What's wrong with my fucking chicken?
Dillinger actually taking some shots from the east. He wants to keep the attention drawn here while the rest of his companions rotate on that northwest side.
Shots actually coming out along the rooftop now as Woods tries to pick one off of objective, but BossFight still hunkering down, not really giving away any visual cues.
Really risky for him to be peeking rooftop with Viper aware of position. And now Viper, after those smokes, realizes he can't defend from this plane wing anymore. Drops back to a little bit of a ditch in the
I'm gonna set up ambush in south.
in the dunes here.
I think they're coming out of south strong, one north.
Smoils is back up to his Dune antics again here. Shots going out along the mid of the map.
Wow, and high
That's high-
fish.
One down.
Getting into the action. Does get scooped up by Woods in the trade, and now we're into a 3v3. Woods and another coming in from the north. Looks like Killinger.
There should be Echo 2.
Wells is about to have an angle onto Leggle right there. Viper on the quick refrag, a life for a life, and now Viper's going to have to rotate back towards objective. If he stays here in the south, definitely going to be a big gap in coverage for BossFight, and that cap for beginners certainly could be on the table.
Yeah, Viper's got to move. Well, he's got all the time in the world. Beginners aren't moving, but
40 seconds.
doesn't mean that they won't be there.
Don't have a lot of time left. Woods has to cross this street, especially if he wants to try and punch in the code in time. 30 seconds now on the clock. Killinger able to find Viper on the south. It's a huge pick. It opens up the objective, but 20 seconds is a lot of time. You see Death on the rotation.
Also making his way there as he gets caught up by UC. But Killinger is running onto objective grounds here, gets caught out by UC Death in a trade, and BossFight will be victorious.
Super clutch move from UC Death. If he doesn't instantly stand up and rotate out of that position, there might have been enough time for beginners to punch in that code and take themselves a nice lead. But instead, the trade goes into the favor of BossFight, and rank 19 worldwide takes map 1 against rank 2. Riddle me that.
I would not have thought about it. And in a trade as well, the most clutch it can get.
Certainly good moves from BossFight, though. They're looking very good and coordinated. They're purposeful smokes. Not a lot of nades and flashes getting utilized, but that's something they clearly need as they do take map 1. Curious to see what our second map will be from beginners. If I had to guess, I would think Downfall.
Yeah, I would say that too. Who knows? Maybe we'll see some Turbine.
The beginners are gonna pick a new map.
Oh yeah, I'm always an optimist.
That's more delusional. I would be shocked if beginners picked something new.
I mean, have BossFight been practicing Turbine? There you go.
Maybe for map 3. That's their
Maybe.
pick.
Seems to be a lot of discussion about what map to choose next.
Yeah, maybe beginners kind of surprised by losing that first map and are having to think what they're gonna do to get themselves on the board for map 2. Does look like we will be going to Downfall. Nobody's surprised for map number 2.
Yeah, and Downfall will definitely play really well for both teams like beginners and BossFight, who just love to. I'm sorry. Brain fart. Love to be able to spread out and use the entirety of a map to their advantage.
You know, we've seen Viper with that 12 times. I expect him to be busting that out. Especially on this map, so the sniping is something we keep an eye on. Not seeing any subs just yet. Still waiting on the 5th from BossFight, and maybe a sub coming. But I would be surprised to see.
Well, they do have Radar Head, I believe.
Yeah.
They could bring him in.
It'd be interesting to be switching up your roster after winning that first one so well.
Well, everyone's got a map that they both like and a map that they don't like, so who knows? Maybe they operate a bit on that level too.
Specialist, well.
Yeah.
A quick reminder too, we are on the old build for this series, so you're not seeing any of the new items or adjusted items here. The shield still in its full destructive force, hasn't been minimized whatsoever, but it does look like we're just getting information for our later game today with Globochem versus Mayhem that we will be on the new patch, so we will be able to see just how the new adjustments come into play. Big match. That'll be interesting to observe.
Our first objective for this map will be the Helicopter 2 story. Very capable one. I would even argue it might be one of the most capable ones on this map.
Yeah. Gotta get the right picks first. You gotta take out Vader defense. Gotta make sure you find their crucial picks, but get those. It opens up that objective. Really hard to rotate around and defend against once you lose your lines of sight on that objective, and we'll see if beginners can find those picks and maybe put themselves a cap here on downfall. I just don't know what to expect right now. You know, looking at the history, I would think beginners kind of have this map locked up. They're certainly been very consistently performing well on this map, and up against a ranked 19 team, you'd think that they certainly have the advantage, but don't know. BossFight are looking much better than their rank indicates right now.
Well, in the EU area, the stakes are much higher because there's less people to play against. So when you still go down in MMR, you could still be ranked up against like BossFight because, well, there's just no one in between.
Still waiting on the 5th from beginners. Let's hang out until... No sub on the 5th, but there was a sub for BossFight. Right? Sharku coming in. Another drop on BossFight's side. The roster game here. I'm not sure what the holdup is. We have to use timeout if we keep going.
Yeah, and there are rules about how long you can hold up a lobby for before the league gods have to step in and exert power.
Yeah, I'd say that beginners are icing boss fight, but it is certainly the other way around now as boss fight are waiting for their 5th. Not exactly what you want coming off of a strong first round performance like they did on Quarantine. You kind of want to be able to carry that momentum and energy into your second map, and that's harder to do when you've been sitting around for 5 to 10 minutes waiting for it to start. I think we will cut to an intermission while I wait for this 5th. We'll be back with more Onward VRML action in just a bit, but go anywhere. Because this is a hot series right now, and we're getting into map number 2 in a minute. We are back into the action. BossFight has gained all 5, and after a long pause between the winning first round for BossFight, we finally are here. Beginner's map pick, Downfall. Map 2, round 1.
I don't know if you were on the Volk side of the spawn, but Viper said hi to you, Knight.
I heard somebody yelling. I didn't hear what it was.
Our fellow caster, Viper, is out on the field today, fighting for his team.
Quick gander at BossFight's defense and then go over and see what the beginners are up to. 1 rotating around South Ravine. Smoils in the center with 3 up north. But he just kind of looking out some windows, looking for those angles, seeing if they can spot anybody peeking. Get any early picks. Kev from the south does have eyes on 1, probably at the wall. Quite land those shots.
Seeing a very slow approach on the beginner side here as Icy Woods is literally on his belly making his approach.
I wish I knew where that was. And Smoils in the center. There's Killinger and Woods prone in the north. Certainly taking their time, proning their way up here. Woods using some of that, I guess you could say, new cover, the wall. Something added in 1.6. So, not really new anymore, because 1.7 is out right now. We're not on that build, obviously, but... everybody's prone on beginners. Kev also prone here as he crosses the street.
He might have used an entire mag on that crossing.
Yeah, that LMG clip coming in huge for him. It did allow him to completely suppress both windows while he crossed to ensure no one would peek him and take those shots at him. Now he's going to utilize his utility to make the rest of the way forward. Fortunate rolls on the smokes, too. They're going to completely deny the vision that he...
Oh. Yeah, he's going to have to go in guns blazing again. But he's able to make that way up to Middle Hotel.
He'll probably work his way up to the roof while the rest of his team inches ever so close to the objective. Smoils getting real danger close, and I'm surprised he hasn't been spotted by Scooby. It looks like him being prone has just kept him out of the line of sight. I would be willing to bet that that Smoils' position is unknown by the defense.
Yeah, he hasn't really made much, he hasn't made much noise in gunfire or moving or walking or running or anything, so I think he's still a wild card, even though he's gotten relatively close here.
And this tiny little shift in the terrain to stay out of Scooby-Doo's eyesight, and now Scooby's getting pushed from the north as well. Icy Woods getting dangerous close. So Scooby's going to have to pay attention there. You see Death. I like the coverage from BossFight. They have angles that aren't exposing themselves, but they're still covering. I guess Smoils tries to cross to objective. You see Death will see it. Granted, if Scooby goes down, they have nobody defending objective outside on that corner. Sharky would have to do a hard peek through the window.
Scooby got lucky from a nade that he tossed in the window. I'm sorry, that Not Scooby. I see through into the window.
Yeah, pretty good smoke right onto Scooby's position. Woods is going to rotate up. A bit of an unorthodox rotation. Going a little bit higher instead of crashing down towards Scooby.
Scooby might have more company here as the other of the Woods brothers goes exactly to the position.
Wow.
Just in.
The smoke really causing some chaos on the defense here. Scooby's definitely done the right thing and rotated downstairs. Woods is aware of this possible rotation, does crash down here, and a trade between Scooby and Woods result in nobody covering Crater. Does open up the front side of objective, but nobody's there either. Kev actually on the backside catching out UC Death, and they're going to have to worry about the flank, because if they can somehow get inside, if Legel goes down here, it's bad news. A huge pickup from him, and now it puts it into a 3v1 for BossFight.
But now no one is, like you said before, the Crater is completely exposed now, and so it is up to Sharko to be able to eliminate threats as they come. Woods is not facing the right way.
Been a while since we've seen beginners not manage all their time effectively either, but when you run things down to the clock like that, sometimes that happens, and BossFight win by holding the objective on time.
Yeah, they knew that time has slowly become their ally, and he used it to its fullest extent. It's like we said before, the timer is definitely going to be a player in this game here. It's not going to be a factor. It's going to be a full-blown player.
Either way, that is the perfect start for BossFight. Go up on this map of beginner's choice. Now, if they can somehow grab a Marsoc round here, that'll be the real
kick in the pants.
Yeah. They don't even need to, though. If they just keep a Volk trend going and keep pulling Volk rounds.
I mean, they don't need to, but do they want to?
Right. Yeah, it's certainly an option right now. As long as they don't give up a Marsoc round themselves, yeah, they're in the good position. I don't know, man. They're looking strong. They're going to be they're probably going to be the top pick for wild card when that time comes around, unless we get some sort of. I don't know actually. Who are we looking at?
We could have a meme team come in. Like we've seen. What was it? They took our jobs.
Yeah, we'll probably see something like that. I guess I'm just more talking about on the grand scheme of things. There could be still some really strong team. Animal House, gunning on empty. Blaze, if they can't manage to inch themselves up into the top 7. I don't think they have any games left this week. Speculation has to stop, though, as the round begins.
To be perfectly honest with you, I think we still have more time to speculate.
You're right. Hey, you're right.
We will be seeing what looks like a 2-2-1 push coming out of BossFight here, sending one guy along the mountainside.
Now we're stuck. What do we do now?
That will be our own caster, Lonely Viper.
Come on. Let me die. You're too valuable. Okay, so how do you want to do this?
I don't know, Pekin's probably just about at it. We're not going to see them and they're going to pop us in the head.
Getting a little insight into the BossFight discussion here.
Yeah.
Kind of funny, Legel valuing UC death over himself.
No. Because when they know we're here, fucked. Viper, do you have vision on the dark room where you were? Yeah, just put some.
I assume they're going to wait for that Overwatch behind them in the south to have some angles before they move.
Hold on. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm not going out, don't worry.
Viper with the 12 times up there.
Yeah, and he is the caster with the surgical steady hands.
Or at least they're not peeking.
As he just fumbles a smoke grenade.
Hey man, not all searches are perfect.
See if he can thread some sniper rounds into the heads of some defenders. Certainly got some lines of
He's
sight
gonna
there
lie
that he could
prone.
take advantage of.
Nurse, pass me the lead.
Where are you moving and what are you worried about?
Communication, though, is real strong with this boss fight team. Viper's been very vocal with his team, making sure that they explain what they're seeing. You know, you can just tell from his comms alone, he's really reinforcing everybody communicating exactly what they're seeing and how they're going to move. I think that's probably what's been making boss fight such a powerful team right now against beginners. Their communication is so on point.
Okay, you're at skip.
And beginners might have come into this round a little off, you
Yeah.
know, like not thinking, not in the right mentality, like, oh, it's boss fight. They're ranked number 19. We can easily beat these guys. No. You should always approach these games as if you're going up against Global Chem or beginners or Danglers, SMC, you know, all the top teams.
You see that? I think we should put bullets in that dark room just to make him suck in. No?
Yeah.
It's too far. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Yeah, do it.
.45 on the clock. Shots do start to ring out, and I think it's gonna be
I'm smoking across to the mid.
Boss Fight's move. Let's take a look at the rest of Boss Fight. We sort of neglected the two in the center here, Sharku and Scooby. And it's interesting, if you look at this defense, this whole center area really has no angles on it. Killinger could potentially look out to the center, but he won't. Woods can't see out to the center past the helicopter. They're really just holding the tight angles around OBJ, so Scooby and Shark are free to move here. So is Leggle, and even UC Death, although there is somebody covering that west side.
And Scooby as well here is using the that little nook that we were talking about before to his advantage here, just trying to stay hidden.
Sharku's gonna look for the frag on the Woods, finds one. Smoyle's getting suppressed by another, and that's a great couple of smokes. Gonna completely deny vision from Killinger. Viper sniping Icy Woods, brings it into a 4v3 as Sharku pushes onto objective. He's gonna run into an issue with the fence there, blocking his push. Now Scooby-Doo has to find the kill on the Killinger if he wants to push.
Scooby's using his teammate's dead body to prone up onto an angle on Killinger.
Finally, Killinger takes the shots through the body, picks up Scooby as another kill goes on the boss fight. Now they're down to 2, leaving it up to UC Death and Viper with a minute left.
Viper is rotating off of the north side. Which is good, so beginners hopefully won't be giving up. I'm sorry, boss fight won't be giving up a point here due to the timer. Only 30 seconds remain here, and UC Death is still taking his time.
Icy Woods
Viper
is down, but he's probably radioing in everything he can see right now too. So UC Death isn't going to be safe for much longer. I think he's out of the angle from Icy Woods. Now he's been spotted, and instantly once he stands up, Killinger picks him off with a headshot. Now Viper, with 15 seconds left, is really distracted by Kev. He's going to have to full sprint if he wants to take this
He
one.
only has 7 seconds left. I think he sees that now, and so
The mismanagement on time from both teams to start off the series, and bulk rounds being traded, tied up 1-1.
yeah, the timer has definitely come into play twice here. And it it's winning, or it's one. Let's see, 5-2. What's the score line? I can't see it.
Overall, 4-2 on Quarantine and 1-1 on Downfall.
Total score line is 5-3, and Timers won 2 of them. Pretty good chunk. That's gone down to the end of round.
All that time between rounds here, hashing out the strategy, you can definitely tell both squads feeling that pressure.
Yeah, everything is to fight for here. BossFight are on their winning map here. If they can win this round, they will have the pleasure of saying that they beat Beginners in round 2. Beginners won a forced round 3 after they have lost round 1. In order to be able to stay in this for as long as possible.
Oh!
Killinger taken down immediately off the pre-fire by Legel.
All the way around, Killinger getting that first pick. BossFight now.
Oh.
Yeah, at the disadvantage.
Reading hard.
They like to push dumpster sometimes, dumpster alcove. No, not trader.
And on the note of comms, I mean, one thing that you always hear when watching Beginners is they are also very vocal. They make sure that everybody knows what the plan is. They know where people are. They have questions. They're not afraid to communicate them through their comms. And I think just having that comfortability of being able to radio into your team and communicate with them is super important. Shots from the south, few shots from the north. Does split attention from the BossFight defense. Got the setup Scooby in the 2-story.
A bit of a pushing is now going on as 3 members of the Beginners have already encircled the north side. And Woods is able to find Viper.
Viper's down, trying to find information for Sharku to react off of. The res can get pulled off here. Sharko could peek out and get it right now before anybody rotates anymore, but it's going to become harder and harder to do now. Icy Woods probably has a pretty good line of sight here. Death eyes dialed into this push, catches out Woods, and now Icy Woods will be looking for the refrag while Killinger does charge forward. Sharku tries to get the res on a Viper. Icy Woods finds him out on a rotation. There's also a line of sight getting trained onto him from the south, and shots ring out but can't quite tag him as he ducks behind the tree. Scooby from the rooftop taking those shots. BossFight down to 2. This could be the Marsoc round beginners need.
Yeah, having only 2 members left to defend this kind of an objective is really hard. Killinger gets a massive pick on UC Death. He is on objective. Tablet out here.
Nope, objective has moved.
Oh, objective has moved, yes.
Scooby still has eyes on. He's going to have to deal with Killinger inside the window. Does spot him, can't take the shots, and now he's going to be completely exposed to his backside as Smoils finds the shots, and beginners grab themselves a Marsoc round. I think this is actually pretty big. This is the first time beginners have had the lead in this series.
Well, we have seen single point leads before.
I don't think they had it.
I don't think they had it. No. I agree now. Now I think about it. We'll consult the instant replay later.
Not what you want is BossFight, though, considering you have that Volk advantage. Lose one early like that and then lose the round is rough.
They do have some room to breathe here, though, given the fact that this is, well, beginner's map choice.
Yeah.
Maybe they just weren't expecting to win, you know? It's like, they can have that mentality. It's like, okay, this isn't our strongest map, so it's okay, you know, to keep it closer to lose it. As long as we come back hard on map 3.
Options for map 3 are pretty limited. Cargo, subway.
Not gonna lie, I would love to see some subway action here.
Certainly would be pretty interesting to have the best of 3 come down to that, but see if BossFight can muster themselves a Marsoc round of their own. Not quite yet, as we wait for that 5th from top in old. I think while we wait, we'll cut to a brief intermission yet again. Not sure what the holdup is between both squads, but thank you for tuning in. If you are just stopping by, head on over to vrmasterleague.com/onward. You can register to be on a team, become a reservist. You'll find the links to the Twitter, Twitch, and Discord, so you can always stay up to date on when that action is going to be coming at you. Make sure to be tuning in to that site. We'll be right back with more beginners versus BossFight. Don't go anywhere. Beginners mounting their comeback shortly. Finally, back to the action. If you are just tuning in, you've missed a bit of the series so far. BossFight taking map 1 in strong fashion, 4-2. Now beginners trying to mount their comeback. On the map of their choice, they do take the lead 2-1, and we'll see if BossFight can answer back with a Marsoc round here.
A lot of smokes going out off the spawn in order to be able to mask any movements,
Did my best
prevent
on,
pre-fire from
Purple, but I
happening.
had it quite well smoked.
And Scooby had his eyes trained in over there, so that's exactly why those smokes were deployed. Although it does expose the spawn, so information
Sorry
for
giving away
both
the spawn.
teams, really.
Makes your life harder.
Well, it's the Volk spawn. They kind of
Yeah,
knew that, but
if you make a run for it now, you can use their smoke maybe. Use their own smoke. It's just ending. It's just ending.
Did get one into that 2-story. Not going to be the one defending this north side, though. They're going to have to watch out for whoever's in that 3-story in center. Icy Woods.
and a holdup happens along the north side as they wait for, believe it's the south side to get into position.
Either watch north or watch the southwest.
Once again, I'm pretty sure I know who it is, but it is Viper and Legel. Legel, as Viper has just said. But
How shall we deal with that asshole? I mean, really, what a shitty spot to be in. Alright, hold tight.
Viper have the 12 times? Yeah, he should be able to sight into that window. Way over there on that defender who's in that 2-story that they smoked to get there.
That's why we need to.
They know that one's in there. I don't think they've spotted him yet, but there, if they keep rotating and aren't too careful, they're exposing themselves, but
We'll have someone in Bravo. He'll be below, having
Yeah,
a tight
he's
angle
not
on
gonna
the
patient pays off.
We have to clear that though, that's on us.
Look at the north side. You see Death managed to get down into the crater.
yeah, it's a mess to be a place to be able to push to, but oh, Kev has other ideas.
Reined in, looking for the angle. One thing you'll notice if you do tune into Scooby's view, he's doesn't have the crosshairs right on the window. He's got it just below, and that's so that he can keep his vision clear, because in VR, when you're trying to look at long distances, just having that crosshair in the way can end up denying you of the view onto that pixel that's moving inside. So, little top-level strategy there for you.
Might be able to slip.
The way I've always been trained to shoot, both in real life and in VR, is I actually keep both eyes open so I can kind of see past it. Might be when people do if they close one eye, but
Yeah. We've seen this rotation from Legel more often recently. Teams opting to use that far side to rotate all the way around over to the west. Then kind of get some interesting, unique angles onto the defenders that aren't necessarily expecting it. And you can see there's no lines of sight trained up here onto this west hilltop, so nobody from the beginners is checking this angle that Legel and Viper are rotating to.
plenty of fire coming from Icy Woods. Oh, he gets taken down by Viper.
Good shot.
Middle tower dead.
Great
Nice
shot from
snipe.
And that was silence too, so they may still not know where he is. He was instantly pick confirmed dead, so no comms able to be radioed in. Interesting push coming from Scooby as well on the other side of the map.
can check a nade in there, he might be able to get a nice one on Kev.
Either or. It puts a nade top stairs or bottom stairs. Will get Smoils or Kev. Like Lego's rotated a bit more up onto the west side now.
Okay. Okay.
Ooh, Smoils here might not be ready for this as Scooby peeks around the corner here. Scooby does remain victorious there, but he himself gets taken down by Killinger, thus freeing up Kev just a little bit. Woods takes down Sharku along the south side, but he himself is about to get flanked by two members of BossFight. Kev and Legel, or Viper and Legel, are both challenging him. Viper gets taken down by Killinger. Legel's doing the same thing, but he completely ignores Woods. Woods is going to beat on that, and BossFight lose yet another round.
Not sure what the time was there, but they sort of lost track of who they had picked off and who they didn't. As they started to make their move up on that west side, there was just too many defenders left alive that had view into their push. Maybe if the north push had paid off, Smoils goes down as well as Kev, things could be a little bit different because then you have the pressure applied from both sides. But as soon as they lost their north push, everything kind of went to
shambles. Yeah, and definitely keeping track of your kill count is so key to this game, especially knowing where those kills were. We saw Legel there. He just kind of walked right on by where Viper was just 2 seconds earlier taken down, thinking that, oh, Viper's got this. When in reality, no, he didn't. He's still there.
I like that we can now showcase the next OBJ as well. Scoreboard scene, so everybody can know just exactly what's coming up. It is going to be pretty interesting objective for what could be the match point for beginners on Marsog. A lot of options on how you can approach this, on how you can attack this objective, and curious to see what beginners do depending on where they get their spawn. There's just so many different variables here. How those variables unfold and what the equation equals in the end, as we do only see 4 loading in.
Up there going to be rounding reset. Yeah. It looked like there were only 4 there, yeah.
Somebody not readying up in time.
Not good.
I think now we're starting the series. I didn't hear what they said there. I think now we're starting this round, what could be the map point rather, not the series for certain, but map point for beginners. See if they find any fortunate picks from their spawn. It doesn't look like anybody's going to get too aggressive up onto that east side, and it is going to be a pretty quick spawn for beginners. How are they going to utilize this?
Yeah, the natural thing is to just get really aggressive with it and attack the enemy before they have any time to set up a defense. But it looks like beginners are going to let them set up a defense and then just kind of methodically roll through it like we've seen before.
They're going to get Woods and Smoils on opposite ends of the objective. Probably have Smoils rotate all the way down into northwest side. Woods 43 here. Been tracking him on this long rotation. It does look like he was spotted on this cross.
Yeah. Ooh, boy. He does not know how lucky he just was. His luck.
Who is aiming that? Their guns all over the place when they're trying to dial in here onto this hilltop.
That looks like it is Viper.
He should have that 12 times, so he should be able to see this head from woods, but I'm sure it's just getting blended into the rest of the map. Oh, he's actually, he's not fully peeking that corner, so maybe he can't see him around the corner there.
Yeah, and also
watching
just
his head right now,
the
but I just
sheer
hear his shots, so I know it's
distance.
gonna be-
Oh, he sees it.
Talking.
I just heard him say he's watching his head right now, so not taking the shots. Maybe he's just too nervous of missing and exposing his position.
Yeah, definitely a good call there. Woods is now moving, which makes it even harder to shoot. Viper still aims that way nonetheless. He is so close. Here come the shots. Woods holds the course, even though getting sniped at.
Viper is struggling to land these shots. He tagged him once. Can't seem to hit him again, though. The long range.
Oh, there we go.
Took him a bit.
We didn't say Viper was like arsenic. Just
He's definitely definitely good at long range. It's hard to be. It's hard to hit anybody with a 12 times in VR. That requires, a lot of practice and a steady hand.
And it's not just your hands that are a variable in this whole thing. It's, he's lining up for Kev. Sharku's able to find Killinger.
Yeah.
But anyways, like I was saying before, it's like, it's not just your hands, it's your tracking as well, depending on your setup. But there's always going to be a little bit of mistrack that you have to account for.
Shots from Viper just going over the head of Kev, and
I think it hit. It hit him once, but he's using an M, or on Marsoc, I know he uses an M4, so he's probably using a similar setup on Volk, which isn't, it's not a one-hit kill setup.
I wonder if Icy Woods on this rotation can find any angles. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to spot anybody here, and Kev's certainly getting dangerous by peeking this hilltop.
Where is everyone? What's
And we've been watching Kev and Icy Woods so much, Smoils has gone unnoticed by us and the rest of the defending team as he does rotate all the way along this far west side. Basically been sprinting the entire round, and he's only got 2 minutes left to get close to objective.
Yeah, they have not moved up that much further from... Oh, Kev finds Scooby.
Oh.
A nice peek. Obviously giving away his position to Viper, but Viper has just not been able to land any shots on this so far. Only 1 minute remaining. We might see the clock come into play here. It looks like Kev's lining up for another member of BossFight.
Oop.
But Viper with one shot and an SKS takes down Kev.
Finally
That's impressive.
grabbed him. Yeah, I wonder if that shot's going to be enough for Smoils to react off of, though. He is on the back side of Viper here. Ooh, and actually, he might not be aware of Viper's position. Viper could hear these footsteps.
Bogey on me, bogey on me. I need eyes on, eyes on, eyes on me right now. Eyes on me.
Shut up.
Smiles is here, you dickhead. Fuck you, Smiles. You wish you were cool like me.
I hope you're listening to this.
Of course.
Hi. Smiles is in a brothel. Don't look at him. He just wants you to look at him.
The our new open comms are a thing in this game. You can hear audio if you're close to the person, and Viper hears the nade getting pulled and gets a little nervous. It's just a smoke from Smoils to deny vision from the team to support Viper. I wonder what Smoils' plan of approach is going to be.
He's only got 30 seconds remaining here, so...
He'll get in that
Doesn't-
two-story, pump out some suppressive fire onto objective, and let the work come in from Icy Woods. Oh.
Smoils is able to find Viper. Icy Woods is able to find Sharku, and objective has just gotten a lot more open, but the trade will come out between him and Legal. And BossFight will take a win of their own to keep themselves in map 2.
Huh. Wow. Pretty good attempt there from the beginners. They really started to rally back at the end, but couldn't find the picks they needed. Smoyle's not able to grab one from the 2-story, and Killinger ultimately going down in a trade. Good round. A must-win, obviously, for BossFight. They need to keep winning now. Have to put a cap here or get 2 more rounds without losing. Otherwise, they'll be going to a deciding map 3.
Well, the good news is that this is a very capable objective. So it is not impossible. Luckily, no members this time have dropped out. We're just waiting for the 2 minutes to go by as both teams strategize. Beginners, as you may be very well aware, are on match point here and are looking to get themselves a map here. BossFight working their way back up here, trying to do exactly the same here. And we will have quick spawn.
Look at these interesting defensive smokes coming out from beginners. I wonder if that's going to hurt them in the long run. Because it is that fast spawn, they certainly seem somewhat aware of it as they do charge in here to get this early defensive position.
Could be just to mask their movements, but or make the other team feel like that they did not see. Quick spawn Kev finds Sharku.
That's exactly what beginners need to kick it off. Sharku's pretty much all alone up over there, so the res possibility is going to be very delayed if it does happen. It's going to force a rotation that maybe BossFight don't want to have to do either. And it's such a long rotation. I think you can see now Kev's going to have, or not Kev, Viper's going to be the one that's going to try and rotate over there. And
Where was the shooter again, Sharku? Who got you?
No movement coming out of BossFight just yet. As they try to figure out what to do about Middle Hotel here. It is currently very well staffed, and very well staffed it is as Kev finds Scooby-Doo.
Viper was trying to find the shots onto him there, and Kev almost getting his head completely torn off as he decides to peek up again. The res does come in onto Scooby, so those shots not going to pay off. And frankly, BossFight could pick up everybody that's been tagged if Viper can get to that body in time. It's been almost 2 minutes now, though.
Well, I hope Woods ordered the smoking room for his hotel room, because smoked out it is indeed, as Scooby and Kev make their approach right now. Woods will be waiting for room service, and that he does.
Res does finally come in from Viper, so one gets picked up, one gets put down. BossFight into a 4v5.
Scooby.
Wow, Scooby's
able to find Woods. He is checking into his hotel room.
Scooby knows there's 2 in here, so he should be wary of Kev potentially being upstairs above him.
One dead orange shits.
Killinger's able to find UC. We're down into a 3v4 situation.
Yeah, looks like UC Death was trying to rotate along the west side, way around like Smoils was last round, but Killinger had his eyes trained. Scooby wasn't able to suppress, and the pick from Sharku. Nicely done as Kev exposes himself on the roof.
Scooby's able to now use the roof to his advantage, maybe able to pick Smoils off of objective, forcing a rotation out of Killinger. Or the cap, if he gets oh so lucky.
Guy's dialed into Killinger right now. He's certainly looking for that pick in the window. He knows Killinger is there defending. Now it looks like Viper knows where Smoils is. Smoils, the same goes for him, though, as he picks off Viper with some good shots from the window bottom story.
Southguard dark room and Smoils is on objective.
You know, Scooby has an interesting line of approach. If he does decide to try and back off, has any utility left, he could smoke across this wall. I mean, if he's on the... He could get to the corner of objective and be punching in the code right now.
Yeah, he definitely can. Smoils, if Scooby's... Scooby is quick enough on this cap, he can definitely win map 2 and the game.
Yeah. Yeah, this will be the series if they can punch in this code.
And they can afford to lose map 2 here. Keep that in mind. Viper is beginning his approach here.
It's actually Sharku.
I'm sorry, Sharku.
Viper got picked off by Smoils just a second ago, but Sharku's looking good. Those smokes from Scooby were really nice, and they're forcing rotations out of this beginner's team. They know their defense is weak on objective, and they're starting to crash in now on the front side. Smoils picks up Sharku, and now it's all up to Scooby.
Scooby and Smoils face off. Smoils emerges victorious, and beginners win map 2, keeping themselves in for map 3.
No, I can say with relative confidence that this third map should be quicker than these other ones, but I don't want to jinx anything.
Don't jinx it, man. Here, listen to the knocking on the wood here, okay? It probably sounded horrible, but we gotta do that. It's nice when you have a wood desk.
I got one too.
There you go. No jinxing here today, everybody.
Take a quick look at KDs before they're gone. Smoils 6-3. Going well for his team. Everybody's got a bunch of kills on beginners. 5 for Kev, 5 for Woods, Killinger, and Woods 43. Lowest on KD count, but certainly was enough to give BossFight a run for their money. Now we go into their map pick for map number 3. That's Subway.
Am I good or what?
I said it too, Todd. But yeah, we both... It's not... There's only 2 maps to pick from, okay? It's not that hard to figure out which one it's going to be.
Hey, we've seen cargo a lot from top tier teams.
Yeah, we have. And beginners certainly know how to play it slow. I think Subway actually leans into the beginner's favor just a bit, as they are able to use some slow play strategies here on this map. Cargo would have at least forced a little bit of a faster play style.
We will be having a cycling out of players on the boss fight side. Maybe Radar Head will be coming in?
I don't know. He's been watching the series, so he's certainly been getting a little bit of information on the play styles that beginners are breaking out here, but I think that information is already known, right? Like, it's no surprise beginners are slow playing it and converging on the objective together.
Yeah. Our first objective will be one of my personal favorites. A very historical one if you are fans from Season 4. The North platform.
Yeah. Bit of a different choke point chaos. It's still quite a chaotic spawn. You just get a lot more nades and action up on this little U on the north side. Used to be more of a, I would say, clown fiesta on the stairs, but you don't quite get that as much anymore.
Or just people running up and capping as quickly as they can. You're still... We'll be bringing back High Fish this time.
Yeah. Who did he sub out for? Sharku.
Yes.
So, rotations coming in from BossFight, and maybe that's what they'll need to take this series against beginners. Get into the final map, the series decider. BossFight have taken map 1 on Quarantine 4-2. Beginners rallying back and getting Downfall 4-2, and now we go in the subway with everything tied up.
And we're probably going to be seeing the shield coming out of Viper here. Yes! Yes, we are.
Lots of utility getting prepped by beginners, and they do start to dump it up and over. A great flash onto Viper, shuts down his early shield push. And now he's kind of trapped in the middle of this lane. Nades come in on
nice
distance.
double nade.
Wow. They just ignored Viper, and his shield went right over his head, grabbed out 1 or 2, and Viper able to trade with Killinger before he goes down.
Beginners looking really good off of this first battle here with the double nade here and able to get a confirm on the Viper. Legel is now going to have to use the shield, even though he doesn't have the pistol that accompanies it.
I mean, they've won this trade up here in the U. Legel has freedom to come down the stairs.
Oh, C4 is on point.
I think Legel just ID'd that C4 right as he was about to take his shots at it. It was detonated by Smoils, and an excellent way of denying that push from the stairwell. Now we're going to have to tune into High Fish, the new and fresh sub to this third map.
It's a bit of a mistake to take that north route. So lucrative because objective is right there, but everyone's going to pour all the booby traps and, you know, whatnot have you into that. And Highfish begins to make his way down the stairs now. He shouldn't have any opposition for at least half the map.
.250 on the clock. Actually, one of the faster rounds we've had unfold. All that action really breaking away in the first minute of the round. Now we're just waiting for Highfish to figure out his lane of approach. It's going to be a bit before he runs into any action, considering Woods and Icy Woods have sort of lined up this crossfire to be directed at this lane in particular. So Highfish is going to have to push up here if he wants to try and be a threat. He's got time, 2:30.
Yeah, he's got half the map time left, and he's already encompassed more than half of his journey. And Woods looks like he's going to get a little antsy.
That's information for Highfish to work with.
It's definitely good to know when people are in that doorway.
Yeah, he could opt for this bit of a flank route if he stays quiet. I don't know. That angle, that flank is covered by Woods 43, so it's a good setup really from beginners. They're covering each other here on a cross pattern. It's going to be really hard for Highfish to get in here without any utility. He has a smoke though.
Yeah, it looks like he will be going for the downstairs route. Here, he only has just over a minute remaining here. And he still has not made an approach to this objective yet. And he's also only able to carry 2 slots of utility, so it's not much to work with. I'm not gonna lie, it might have been better for him to go up north.
Yeah, absolutely would have been. He'd only have to deal with Smoils. And if he caught Smoils out, he'd force the rotation from beginners. But you're not, with this objective, I don't think most people are anticipating having 2 defenders out here not on OBJ, so it's hard to prepare.
The good news is as he comes out of these stairs that he's on, no one can really see him right now, but he will have to deal with the Woods brothers right as he enters that track. And the ambush is set. The death triangle is there. Beginners take round 1.
Solid way to kick things off for beginners, grabbing themselves that Volk round. That trend continues. It's going to be beginners series, but I expect BossFight to make it easy.
No, I wouldn't. BossFight have definitely shown this entire time that they are up there and willing to fight.
Yeah, they're gonna be a serious threat in the wild card. Teams are gonna have to watch out for BossFight. I anticipate them having a very easy time through most of the wild card, honestly. So definitely one to watch when that comes around.
BossFight, Blaze, I think another good team.
Yeah, there's a few in there for sure.
Mayhem. Mayhem would be another great one to watch.
Well, that matchup will be. They actually have one more match this season, and it is a big one. You want to talk about a series to really tune into? Global Chem and Mayhem will be going off later today, and that one is super important. They are ranked 7th right now, so if they lose, they're in the wild card. If they don't, they get that huge bye into the semis, and into the group stage, excuse me. And I mean, it's just, it's so important. It's gonna be such a huge game for Mayhem, and if they even lose that at all, their rank's gonna be shifting. Actually, I don't know. There's 20 MMR separating them from Blaze. I don't know. There's so much on the line for that next series. But
yes, let's talk about Mayhem in the wild card. I kid Mayhem. I actually really like playing with those guys.
yeah, something we're not quite worried about right now is we do have a barn burner of a series on our hands. Beginners trying to fend off a win from the hands of BossFight as we get into round 2 of map 3, the series decider.
Just up here? On the backside of the black bank. Anywhere up here.
Oh, I haven't seen double C4.
Sometimes it can work, but it looks like they're just going to give them the whole route up here. They're definitely, the C4 is definitely placed in places that you wouldn't be looking when you're down there.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be occupied by 2 people by the vending machines.
One thing important to note too is that the second C4 is layered so that it's behind this little ledge, and it does save itself from being detonated by that nade. That one nade did catch out one of the C4, unfortunately for BossFight, so it's going to severely weaken their hold here.
This next C4 catches out the next one.
Wow.
Ooh, that's rough.
Really bad news for these two. .446. Smoils could frankly just suppress this for the remainder of this series. Peeking is not an option, that's for sure.
Killinger's bringing a shield. This is going to be a really tough one for them to defend. A nade comes out, it catches Woods. Very nicely timed. Scooby's able to get that. Two minutes of suppressive fire.
Non-stop. Non-stop, and now they're starting to run out of ammo, honestly. 3 full mags depleted from both of these LMGs, and they are running a double LMG strat here. I think that's important to highlight. It does allow for that suppressive fire to be non-stop.
Only 2 people so far have been defending against BossFight this entire, for 3 minutes. A 3 minutes non-incessant barrage. That only is just taking a break now as I guess they reload.
Dillinger almost got team killed by Kev right there. You'll notice they have their final member, Smoils, watching their backside. Not partaking in any of the festivities. He's instead making sure nobody's flanking, and it's a smart concept to have one there. Especially with how they're approaching this objective. They've invested everything into this side. A lot of LMG fire. You're well aware of
Oh,
their
and a nice
position.
nade is right by Scooby. It takes the boat down. Objective is open. A very nice nade for, I believe that was Killinger.
Yeah, he backed up, grabbed it from Smoils, who dropped it, and then perfectly tosses it. UC Death's gonna have a tough time coming out here for the res.
Yeah, and Killinger's just moved his way up here. Then the nade comes out.
Oh.
Kev is able to find UC Death. The confirmation goes out. Only 2 members of BossFight remain. The rotation has to come.
Now would be a good time for Smoils to be flanking, but he's instead just watching their flank. And actually, BossFight is able to rotate here without much consequence.
Highfish is able to get a nade, I think. Oh, you are playing it very risky, buddy. That shield is not all the way down there, but the pin is already pulled. That nade will not find anybody. As beginners have used up 4 minutes of their time on this stairwell here, unopposed. It looks like Highfish is going to give them a little bit of smoke so he can make a rotation. Or let them cap, whichever way you want to see it. Kev is making his way down onto the objective. He's moving just past. He's able to find High Fish. He is... Okay, the last member, Legel, is rotating right now. Kev has gone pistol. Killinger is out with the shield. Legel gets taken down, and beginners take a second round on Subway.
I think they ran out of ammo at the end there. That's why you saw the pistols come out. There's so much suppressive fire on that lane that LMGs ran out of ammo. An impressive feat to accomplish, and it certainly pays off as beginners do push their lead up to.
Yeah, those LMGs are definitely being used how they were, in, you know, God intended them to be, which is to be suppressive weapons.
Yeah.
We see a lot of players nowadays picking them because they just really don't like reloading, which is totally fine. But man, those things are just... It's nuts to listen to for an extended period of time, knowing that they've effectively created a lead wall.
Definitely a coordinated strat coming in there from beginners, proving that they have put in the effort into Subway. Certainly have been practicing strategy, figuring out what works and what doesn't, because when you're in the top, you can't have any weak points. You can't afford to be ineffective on any map.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to be practicing a lot of Turbine as well, as that's looking like it might end up its way into league rotation so far.
Round number 3 begins with BossFight on the back foot. Beginners ramping up right now on Subway, and all they got to do is grab themselves 2 more rounds, defend the objective here, snag themselves a Marsoc round.
Looks like
Yeah, C4.
nades are coming out just on time.
Have to see how this placement pays off. If Viper continues his move up here, there's no way he's going to check that high of an angle to look for C4, and it's going to be an effective means of denying the shield entry.
Hey Scooby, if you shoot right over my head and just keep shooting forever, Killinger won't be able to hear a thing. It'll really annoy him.
You can definitely sense Viper a little bit annoyed having to deal with the non-stop LMG fire that was pumped out towards him in that lane last round.
He's probably has a bit of a ringer in his ears after that.
It's a lot. It really is a lot of noise when you're in that action, when you're getting constantly peppered by an LMG. So we do have a double C4 getting pulled off here. Wood's nearly getting his entire body inside the wall. Yeah, strange little spot there, but I think he definitely was checking his body to make sure he wasn't clipping. It's just hard once you turn around, your body unclips, you know what I mean? So it's like it's hard to really assess where your back is, so I can't blame him.
Well, his face...
I saw him check. He's aware of possibility.
I'll let League General decide that later.
Yeah. Really, it just looked more to me like janky kinematics top of a box, but either way, the push from BossFight.
It's a really strong box, okay?
Yeah.
Give him a break.
Very good, solid, sturdy cardboard. Either way, though, the entire BossFight team is over here on the north. Sorry, excuse me, the west. You got to wonder if they're going to check the C4 position that Woods has deployed up by these stairs.
Yeah, that C4 is a really hard spot to check. And Woods is in such a good spot to check it as well. Now, BossFight can do the same thing that beginners do. It's just chuck nades, and hopefully it will take down both C4.
Yeah, that is very true. It certainly seems to be an effective means of denying potential C4 placement. And Scooby's well aware of Woods' position. You can see him signaling to his team very clearly where one is. How long will Woods hold on to that C4?
Scooby's taken down by Woods' C4, but now he's got the whole team against him. As more nades come out, Viper's got to react to that. No, he's not able to. He gets taken down.
Nades, the flank from
BossFight.
Smoils. BossFight is getting hit hard right here, and they're down to 2.
Yeah, BossFight has just been decimated within the mere seconds after the heralding of a C4. UC and Woods are still going at it. Beginners have not even taken a hit yet.
Yeah, it's interesting that we're not seeing any rotations from the other defenders, considering they probably know that we are down here. There's another one in this position. Smoil's aware of Hailfist's position. And look at Smoil's actually, as soon as he took fire from Hailfist, he dropped back, went underground, and now he's trying to rotate up behind UC Death. Eye on that as he starts charging in. Will UC Death be able to get into these smokes and cover himself up from the backside of Smoils? I think he's relatively... Oh, can get spotted. Smoils catches him out.
Smoils then rotates back downstairs, even though all the push is coming from the upstairs. Only 40 seconds remain here. Highfish has got to make a move here. Highfish has only got 10 seconds left here to make something happen. I'm going to call it another one for beginners.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much safely say that time runs out and beginners push their lead up 3-0. They're looking to really run over BossFight on this final map, and BossFight want to answer back and take this series. They gotta win 4 unanswered rounds.
Yeah, this is definitely a very tall order for them.
Yeah. I'd love to see it happen, though. BossFight have certainly proved that they are a coordinated, powerful squad, despite their current rank. They seem to have rallied back from some of those losses in their roster. They're looking good right now. Just unfortunately not good enough to beat the #2 team worldwide. And that definitely requires an extra level of... a little bit of luck, but also a lot of, I don't know. I don't know what they could have done. I really like what BossFight have brought to the table against this beginners series. They've come in with some good strategies. That full north push was pretty unique in a move, but the C4 really just rattled that whole presence. Had some good nades. I mean, lessons you can learn from, certainly.
Yeah, I think if they could have brought the pressure a lot quicker, they might have been able to throw beginners a loop, because they'd be focusing on, many different angles at once rather than just one lane that Killinger had already set up for a long time beforehand. we're definitely seeing a lot of setup time because they know that BossFight's not going to push all the way up immediately.
Yeah, we'll see what BossFight can do on this defensive round. Exactly, beginners are going to bring to the table as we hop into what could be the series decider, round number 4 of map 3.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go backwards. Haha.
Scooby. Something's up with Scooby's setup that he can't move forward.
I think he was experiencing lag while looking forward, so he decided to turn around and walk. I wonder if that's where he wanted that C4. Is that too high?
It's pretty high.
It seems really far up there.
Well, we're about to find out very soon enough.
I don't know if we will. Nobody's coming up here.
On that side, they're actually all going through the catwalk.
BossFight used the new entry underground to get themselves into a unique position. Beginners using this new entry to get themselves into a unique position. They can avoid the C4 deployed by Scooby. It does put them into a spot where they're between two defenders.
Yeah, it's not a spot you typically really want to be in. But if you're able to plan for that in advance, you could definitely just have each person battle them one-on-one.
I mean, you can even do nades right now because of how Scooby and Highfish are positioned. Peek those corners and toss some nades into these positions for Scooby.
Coming out. They're not in the right positions. Kind of heralding the arrival.
If anything, that nade would have denied some potential C4 that could be placed above that exit point, but not effective to kill any defenders. Scooby's now aware of that approach as well, and he's going to try and maybe peek.
Killinger is able to find Viper with a nade. As Scooby tries to make an approach out, but he gets caught by Icy, and Legel's also able to find Kev down into a 3v4 beginner's advantage. And Highfish here. Oh, I didn't do it right. Highfish here is beginning to move up. He trades with Smoils, leaving Icy Woods an entire lane for him to work with.
Yeah, it's just up to Legel and UC Death. The comms can be brought in from their down teammate, but that'd be enough to defend against Killinger and Woods making their approach the same side BossFight did last round.
And the res is incredibly risky with Woods being right there, but it looks like they're going to go for it. Legel is not ready for Woods to be there at all.
As long as Woods doesn't peek up over these stairs, Legel will be safe.
He's tossing a nade. Oh! Catches Highfish. Legel is back to square one where he was before. Legel's able to get Icy.
Very good use of the stairs. Stayed crouched down. Utilized that line of sight to his advantage. Was only exposing his head. Cocked the gun sideways, shoots up over the stairs and finds himself a pick. And now it's all up to the two beginners in the north, Woods and Killinger.
Now Killinger has a shield as well, and it's going to be extremely hard for UC Death to not only take on both Woods and Killinger, but Killinger has a shield, so it's like you're effectively taking on 3 players. Woods gets taken down by Legel. It's actually a trade, so now it's UC Death versus the shield. And Killinger's choosing to rotate. hard and fast. He only has a minute and 30 seconds left here.
He's got a full sprint his way over here. UC Death's kind of aware of this rotation as well. Has his eyes trained on that corner.
Yeah, but just shooting his shield's not going to do any good, especially in this build where the shield's, I believe, a little wider. And Killinger is looting as he goes.
And if he gets a smoke planted on the corner, have it go through the corner, for effective in denying UC Death vision, but I don't think he has that option. Into a do or die trade. UC Death has to win this if he wants to get beginners around. And frankly, he doesn't need to keep challenging Killinger. He can sit on objective and wait for Killinger to make his move.
Line coming to play there. UC takes some pot shots onto the shield, but it's not enough. Killinger is such a good shield person. But UC's able to get it as Killinger was looking around a corner. His body was sticking out because he wasn't able to defend it with the shield, and BossFight will live to fight another day.
I think he was nervous about someone around that corner to his left, so as soon as he rounded it, he had his pistol trained in. He was anticipating to take some shots there and then focus back onto UC, but UC takes advantage of that move. Does catch him out, and they hang on by the skin of their teeth. Beginners now going back onto the defensive, and we're back underground for this next OBK.
We will have the middle platform next. And we've seen BossFight do pretty good on these open-ended objectives. This could be a place for them to mount a comeback. We'll have to see, because beginners know very well how to defend this objective as well. Probably using both the tracks and the soda machine to defend. We'll be jumping back into the action very shortly here. Killinger looks like he's gonna go downstairs. We got Woods in the tracks. Kev's watching the basement. And we got one up along the catwalk as well.
Beginners really kind of scrambling on their defense. Still positioning themselves. Kev rotating around. Almost like the comms from upstairs maybe throwing them off as they are.
If you look at me right now, Viper's on a shield. He's about to engage Smoils with 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm aware of the location. A good C4 gets all 3.
Oh, nice. Scooby's just staying quiet here, hoping he doesn't get noticed.
Yeah, but how much longer can he stay quiet? He has to let people know he's available for a res, or he has to let them know that Smoils is up there. If he doesn't, it's just kind of a missed information opportunity. I suppose his team could check their pad, but that doesn't give you the concrete information on location that you need. Watch the rest of BossFight into a 2v5. UC Death. Fish underground. UC Death's going to rotate back off of being underground. Fish alone.
Scooby's probably in a good place to be able to make the call-outs of who's where that can help the remaining 2 members of his team out here.
If BossFight can hang on, keep putting up some rounds, we very well could go into the longest series in VRML history, pushing 3 hours.
Granted, we did have a couple timeouts.
Yeah, did have 2, but it's been a long series. We'll see if that continues to be the case or if beginners can solidify this final map. High Fish checking corners for C4, and I don't see any C4 deployed around him, so he could be safe. Great flash from Killinger allows him to re-peek and pick off High Fish, and now it's all down to UC Death, who's rotating over here to scoop up Scooby and turn it into a 2v5 again.
Oh, but Scooby bleeds out. They are too slow on that res. It is up to UC Death now. And it is not looking good. It is a 1v5. And it's looking pretty good for beginners here. I'm almost half tempted to call it for beginners.
Yeah, they certainly rallied back in a very good fashion, able to...
With only 2 minutes on the clock here, UC's also doing a rotation.
I think you heard Smoils didn't like that lane of approach. This is certainly a better option for him to take. I feel like this route has been pretty unguarded by both teams, and neither of them really opted to take this stairwell. It was so overused before the map was updated that people just don't like to go down it anymore. Have it free and easy if he comes out this way. Let's get past the watchful eye of Smoils, but not enough to deny those shots from ringing out from the center, and now he's in a real jam. Everybody knows his location. They should be converging on him, and Icy Woods picks off UC Death, securing the series for beginners in a strong fashion on Subway, 4-1.
Well, that was a long match, but an exciting one nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a entertaining series to tune into. BossFight coming in and doing very well against beginners, taking map number 1 in a super strong fashion on Quarantine. There's definitely going to be a map that you're going to want to watch out for against BossFight. And then beginners able to rally back, take downfall even after starting off things with a loss in points-wise. Rally back, grab downfall, and then Subway, they come in strong with some very coordinated plans and plays. It pays off. BossFight gonna have to battle it out in the wild card next weekend, and really curious to see how they're gonna fare.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be exciting matches coming out of the wild card.
Yeah. As a reminder, that is next weekend. If you want to tune in and catch that, it's coming up soon. We're into the final month of Season 8, so definitely make sure you grab all the action. There is more to come later today. We do have Globochem versus Mayhem, as well as Lords of War versus Fury. A couple of series to get played out yet in this final week 14 of Season 8. And I know some folks said Mayhem is safe from being pushed down, but I would like to remind how MMR is structured. Even though it says there's a 20 MMR separation between Pacifists and Mayhem, that separation could actually be as low as 11 points, depending on how things are rounded. It's always rounded down, so in theory, Blaze could be at 12, or Pacifist could be at 1259, and Mayhem could be at 1270. In which case, the MMR is certainly capable of swinging, and their rank certainly able to be swapped. But they also have a big separation between Globochem, so even if they do lose, will the MMR loss be that much? I don't know. There's so many speculative calculations that go on there, but either way, it should be a fun series to tune into. We're really curious to see how Mayhem squares off against Globo, and at what rank is that other series? Fury and Lords of War.
I think they're both silver.
That'll be a good indicator of what we can expect from those squads in the wild card next weekend. So both series should be pretty fun to tune into. Make sure you catch those later today. And I think we're going to be signing off with that. Todd, you got any final points?
No, I have to go to my own match, so I'm going to keep it brief. Good games!
Good luck to Todd on his next match, and that'll be it from us here on VR Master League for now. More action later tonight. Be sure to tune in. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. My co-caster, Todd Abercorn. We will see you in a couple hours.
See ya.